Peter, you must have had trouble sometimes flying in formation. Did you ever have any problems?
Not with normal formation. I found that I could hold position quite well. But there were a couple of times, once when we were flying from Pedannock, we were flying down and came round south of the Brest Peninsula to come in over the Lorient area, and as we got down there we found that the cloud cover was absolutely even grey cloud and the sea was very calm. Consequently the horizon completely disappeared, and I was formating on one aircraft. I looked across to the other, looked back, and I'd lost the one I was formating with. At the same time I realised I didn't know what attitude I was in because I had no horizon to judge by. I hastily looked at my instruments. I was in a bank situation and I was turning, but I still didn't know whether I was diving slightly or climbing. So I got a bit panicky and I started looking around. Fortunately, the CO who was flying off to my right must have noticed my head turning quickly or something, and he said, "Okay Pete, formate on me, I'm on your right side." I looked over to the right and there was the other aircraft, so I swung up and formated on him, and then almost immediately he pulled straight, and almost immediately the horizon appeared because we came out from under the cloud and there was a horizon, and I straightened up, and then I realised the aircraft I was formating on was ahead of me and a little below me, and the CO was on the right, and I was in the number 3 position. So that was all okay. On that particular one, we also lost a pilot. The chap who was to my left and in front of me, he was shot down, caught fire. I saw him catch fire, dive into the ground, and there was a loud explosion, and that was it, charged him. The other odd thing I had with formation was flying in formation from Manston. We were going to fly into Münster in Germany, and I was number 3 in the second 4, and as we climbed up over Holland we flew into cloud, and I was formating quite nicely in cloud when the engine started to cut because it was icing up. I hastily put on the carburettor heat and the engine picked up all right, but by which time I'd lost the aircraft I was formating on. So I was sitting in cloud, formating on nothing, but flying on instruments. I didn't really know what to do, so I called up the CO and said I had icing problems and I'd lost the formation, and he said, "Okay, Red 3, RTB," which meant return to base. So I did. I turned through 180 degrees very gently, in cloud still, on the instruments, settled down on 270 degrees and flew for what I assumed was long enough to be over the North Sea, where I let then gently through cloud, came out of cloud, smack over Rotterdam with black puffs going off all round me. So I hastily went back into cloud, carried on for another 5 or 6 minutes to make sure I was over the North Sea before I came down and flew low level the rest of the way home.
And they were the only two problems you had?
Really, that's all.
Oh, thanks, Pete.